Ever imagine the whole world going offline? Not because of a technical issue, but because of the sun. The scientists are really worried about it with a giant sunspot called AR3664. Basically, a huge and dangerous solar storm is on the way to our planet Earth, and it's gonna be extremely ugly. This one is a major threat to our communication channels like our phones, TVs, and even satellites. And as if that's not enough, it could probably cause a huge power outage across the globe too. But don't worry, it's not the end of the world, probably. But it could cause some big problems for a while. To understand this better, we need to understand what a sunspot is first. You know, the sun isn't just a giant ball of fire. Sometimes, dark patches appear on its surface, kind of like freckles, just way bigger. These dark patches are called sunspots, and one of these sunspots are named AR3664. It's the biggest one we've seen in a while, and unlike most suspects that vanish after a week or two, AR3664 seems to be sticking around for months. Scientists are keeping a close eye on it because big sunspots can sometimes cause trouble here on Earth. Now you might be thinking that the sunspots are actually the sun burning out, but no. According to scientists, they're just cooler parts of the sun's surface, caused by weird magnetic stuff happening way up there. And sunspots aren't new. People have been spotting them for thousands of years. In fact, with proper safety gear like special eclipse glasses, you can even see them yourself. Though normally, sunspots aren't a big deal. They've been around for ages and haven't caused much trouble. But this AR3664 is a giant one, and it's different from the rest. Scientists at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, are worried because big sunspots can throw out bunches of energetic particles. They are warning that a super strong wave of these particles might reach Earth's atmosphere in about a month. But some scientists believe a solar storm from AR3664 might have already hit Earth's atmosphere. This could cause strange weather patterns. In the east, it might bring strong winds and heavy rain at night, followed by scorching heat during the day. The west might see something pretty cool though. A solar storm can trigger auroras, like the northern lights, to appear even in places like London. And though the display of these northern lights in the west was beautiful, it's very disturbing when you focus on the implications. The magnetic poles of the Earth are about to be changed. The solar storm even has the power to fully destroy the magnetic field of our little planet. If this happens, the Earth will leave its orbit and wander alone in space. All the living species on it will die from the lack of sunlight and warmth. It could be the possible end of our tiny life-sustaining planet. Traditionally, Earth has caught a break. Thankfully, no super solar storms have hit us before. We might have some lucky planets like Mercury and Venus to thank for taking the brunt of past blasts. But with AR3664, things could be different. Sean Dahl from the Space Weather Prediction Center warns that even if the storm doesn't knock us off course, we could face extremely hot temperatures unlike anything ever seen. He says the heat might keep rising day by day. That's actually horrifying, isn't it? But as I said, sunspots aren't new. They've been around for ages. Back in 1859, a monster solar storm called the Carrington Event came into Earth. We didn't have fancy technology back then, but this storm still messed things up big time. It all started with a beautiful light show. People in places like Mexico and Hawaii actually saw auroras dancing in the night sky. Yeah, it was actually really beautiful and captivating. But nobody knew the real storm or trouble was just getting started. Even though it happened way back in 1859, it caused big problems. You know telegraph? It was the coolest new gadget back then, kind of like our phones today. But the storm destroyed telegraph systems all over Europe and North America in just a moment. And as if that isn't scary enough, this solar storm also caused serious health problems. People started having severe skin issues, with their skin peeling off, and the number of cancer cases kept increasing every day. Those who survived these awful skin diseases often couldn't handle the extreme heat during the day and ended up suffering even more. And if you're thinking sunscreen can protect you, it won't. The storm's intensity is so strong that even if you use sunscreen 1,000 times, it won't be enough to keep your skin safe from getting burned. So yeah, it's pretty bad. Oh, and talking about technology, you know the world relies heavily on it. In fact, you cannot even do simple tasks without involving technology. Scientists say the batteries of mobile phones will explode from the high intensity of heat. Even household things with batteries will burst into explosions. We do value technology a lot, but thanks to Sunspot, it's at a high risk. Manufacturing industries are going to take a huge hit from the storm because they rely so much on technology. Some scientists even say we could be going back to the Stone Age thanks to Sunspot AR3664. The storm will mess with the ionosphere, a part of the atmosphere filled with charged particles disrupting signals. So get ready to say goodbye to radio, communication, and yeah, the internet. Rob Steenberg, a space scientist with NOAA, says these effects could last for decades, so we'll be feeling this for a long time. It's not just our technology that's at risk. Our food supply is in trouble too. Fruits will rot, crops will die, and we could face major food shortages. Even canned goods might spoil from the heat. We'll also lose many species of birds and animals because, of course, they won't handle the intense heat too. According to Rob Steenberg, this storm is gonna mess things up big time everywhere. Talk about GPS, it will be gone for good. And those satellites up there, they're melting already. Steenberg says every single one of them will eventually crash down to Earth. And guess what? Some are already on their way back down. The only ones who can help us figure out what to do are the people at NASA. But right now, they're not saying much. Steenberg says NASA isn't giving any advice on how people or astronauts can avoid the solar storm's damage. They've got fancy technology up there that's already protected, so maybe they're not too worried about it. But it's not just us who need to worry. The astronauts up in space stations need help too. Steenberg says our best chance against the solar storm is just to hope things turn out just fine soon. Without any advice from NASA, we're pretty much in the dark. In the next few days and weeks, it's a good idea to stock up on food and keep some flashlights in hand, because a complete blackout is coming, and some countries might never recover from it. We could be without power for months. Places where you can see those pretty lights in the sky like Mexico and Hawaii are at the most risk. And if history repeats itself, people in the UK might see more skin diseases and lots of deaths. With global warming already causing a lot of problems, this solar storm could just add some spice to this gravy. Who knows? It might even shorten our planet's lifespan, even if it sticks around. We might not even make it to 2025. Crazy, right? The strength of this solar storm has got a lot of people worried. And what's even more worrying is that no government officials seem to be doing anything about it. Some people think NASA's playing a game with us. They think NASA doesn't want their neighboring countries to survive the storm. So they're just waiting for the storm to hit before they do anything. Sure, the USA will feel the effects too, but apparently that's a price they're okay with paying. What do you think about all this? Do you think NASA is the culprit that's ready to risk millions of lives for the benefit of one state alone? Tell us in the comments how the solar storm is affecting your country. And don't forget to share this with your friends and family.